Yesterday, an issue came up that I want to talk about, and this issue is one of my biggest pet peeves, and that is asking designers and developers to do work for free that big companies get to use for profit. So this all started when I got an email from a group called Women of Wearables. Now, Women of Wearables has been one of my favorite organizations. They're all about promoting diversity and women in tech, particularly wearables. And I follow a lot of people in the organization. I'm a big fan, and they've also featured me on their website a few times, which was super kind of them to do. So I get an email from them about a contest where they're partnering with Bose, or Bose, or Bose. I've never said that word before. I'm sorry if I say it wrong the whole time. I'm gonna go with Bose. So they're doing this contest partnering with Bose, and it sounds great, right? So I start to read the email and dig into the details. So the email goes, "We are excited to present the Women of Wearables member community with an opportunity to come up with great ideas for Bose AR, some of which we will further support to becoming full mobile applications." So this made me pause a little bit. An opportunity to come up with ideas to give to Bose to make into apps. So this is already sounding not too great, but at least if this idea gets chosen, the winner gets money or gets to participate in actually making this an app. Well, that's actually not the case. It turns out that the only awards are a pair of headphones and the Bose glasses. The email then goes on to say that they recommend that people submitting already understand all the capabilities and possibilities of the Bose AR platform. Now, if I'm reading this right, the recommendation is to be familiar with the Bose AR platform, but the hardware that you'd be expected to be familiar with and developing on in the first place is the prize that you get at the end if you win. So this seemed a little bit backwards to me. Now the story gets a little bit more intense after this, and I haven't even gotten to the part about the emails, but before I go any further, I want to say that I have nothing against Bose or Bose AR or Women of Wearables. As I mentioned, I'm a huge fan, and I know that there are great people behind those organizations, even if I think this particular initiative is a little bit misguided. Alright, back to the contest. I start to dig a little bit into these terms and conditions, and it is very much so a business brief where the goals are to make this into a profitable, shippable product. There's also some other weirdness in the terms, like that NDAs are forbidden, the winner has to be available to participate in any activities promoting Bose, and that Bose is not obligated to conduct any publicity or promotional activities for the creator. So if I'm reading this right, the winner is obligated to show up for any opportunities to promote Bose, but in return, Bose isn't obligated to give any promotion or exposure to the winner. The terms are very clear that Bose has full rights to use the submission to build products and profit, and the entrant waives all their rights to claim intellectual property. And to top it off at the end, there is a mandatory selection button that allows Bose to store and process your personal data. Okay, so maybe that one wasn't a big deal, but after reading all those terms and conditions, it just felt to me like this was really not a good deal for the participants. So this is obviously not sitting right with me, so I go and post a tweet about this saying that I'm concerned, this seems predatory, and that this doesn't make sense coming from a group like Women of Wearables, whose charter and my understanding has been to promote the community and to help to do good things for diversity and for tech. And so I asked them to clarify. And I didn't even go into the details at the time of why this was so sketchy. I just wanted to get some clarification, and I do believe in going in, assuming that everyone has the best intentions and giving people a chance to respond and share their viewpoint. I also offered to refer some talented female AR artists because I've met and worked with a number of amazing women who I know would do great work for this product and would be thrilled to do this type of thing. But they have to get paid. I also made up a new spelling for professionals because I have this giant band-aid on my finger and I hadn't had my coffee. Professionals. Now this tweet got some reactions. A lot of people had the same reaction as I did, that these types of contests can be predatory and bad for the industry. I also got a good share of DMs from people who agreed with me but didn't want to post publicly because they were big companies and they were afraid of retaliation. And retaliation is what I got. I didn't hear back from Bose, although I have reached out a few times over the past couple days, but I did get an email from Women of Wearables in response to an email that I had sent them directly. While the email didn't address any of my points from Twitter directly, it did accuse me of complaining too much and essentially saying that because I was the only one who called out the problem, it must be okay and that the terms and conditions were available and nobody was forced to enter the contest. Now, I was not confused here. Just because something is legal doesn't mean that it's ethical, or that it's something that should be done, or something that we shouldn't be able to talk about and have public discourse over. As it currently stands, it is perfectly legal for a company, for whatever reason, to decide that they don't want to hire a professional artist or creator or developer. So framing this as a contest to pit people against each other is actually a pretty good business idea. It means that they get to pick from the best of a bunch of submissions without having to pay for them, and they can discard the rest without any repercussion. There is usually some form of prize, but in every single one of these types of contests that I've seen, that prize is valued at much less than what it would have cost to originally hire a professional to do the work. Now, one argument that I hear in favor of this type of contest is that it's a big commitment to hire someone up front and you don't know what you're getting, so why not ask for a lot of submissions before choosing the person to hire in the long run? In this scenario, though, it's not uncommon for companies to ask a few different agencies or individuals to pitch and then pay them a pitch fee. But the second argument, and the one I get almost every time I call this type of thing out, and by the way, this is not the first time I've discussed something like this, is that if designers and developers and creators are choosing to submit to these contests and it's voluntary, how bad can it be? Now, there are many reasons why someone might choose to work for free. I'm not going to go into all of those reasons and when it might or might not be a good idea, but if that is a topic you'd like to dive into more, let me know in the comments and I can do a follow-up on times when it might be a good idea to do work for free. Now, out of all the reasons to work for free, and the one that worries me the most, is that people who are submitting to these contests might not believe that they have a chance at getting paid work otherwise. And this was validated by the follow-up that I got in defense of the contest. This one strikes home for me on a personal level because I spent a lot of my time early career undervaluing my work, doing work for free, and entering into these types of contests. And it never led to any sort of meaningful work or any kind of meaningful opportunity. In fact, the moment my career really turned around and started to take off was at the time when my mentor told me and gave me real talk that I needed to stop doing this. It was like a metaphorical slap in the face that I needed to get it together and start valuing myself and my work. This moment changed not only my career, but my entire life, because even though it was scary the first few times that I started asking for real money, I started to gain confidence every time it worked out, and I started to get better quality clients and more work. And more importantly, I started to understand that my talent and creativity had value. And don't get me wrong, I still have imposter syndrome, and I still screw up all the time and often undervalue myself. But the good thing is that now I'm getting paid to do the work that I love. This is really important to me and a part of what I do every single day as a woman in tech and in my side projects. This is a part of why I founded Make Fashion with my co-founders, and we spend a lot of time fundraising and trying to uplift women and designers. Sometimes I have really hard days where I come home exhausted and worn down, and I've been told that I need to be less vocal, or that the things that I believe in don't matter, or that I'm complaining too much. But the thing that keeps me going and makes me get up the next morning and want to do it again is that I hear so much feedback that talking about these things and standing up for these things matter. Positive change only comes up from being persistent and being vocal, and for standing up and saying it when things don't seem right. Even when there's no personal gain, even if there's negative personal gain, and even if people don't agree with you or if it's exhausting. So that's why when I got those emails telling me that I was complaining and seeking attention, I was surprised and I was disappointed, but I wasn't deterred, and in fact it made me want to say it again and say it louder. I had really hoped that they would have been more open to dialogue or feedback. Obviously, it doesn't happen every time, but the cool thing about this whole experience was that I was able to connect with a lot of new talented AR designers and developers and be exposed to a lot of new talent that I hadn't been aware of before. So I'd really like to know what you think. Do you agree that it's fine for businesses to do these types of contests because they're voluntary? Or do you agree with me that we need to hold businesses to a higher standard and call out when things are unethical or predatory or not beneficial to the community? I've made my point of view clear, but I'm always open to changing my view and expanding my horizons with new viewpoints. And if you haven't followed my channel before, I actually spend most of my time promoting the work of artists and designers, so subscribe to see some of the stuff that I'm doing and our awesome members of the community are up to. Thanks again for your time and for watching.